Jake, Kamarion Franklin, making his decision soon. My understanding is it's over this weekend. The 5-star defensive lineman from the state of Mississippi. A lot of crystal balls coming in, pointing Auburn's direction. Sounds like Miami's trying to make a late push. Tennessee's not going anywhere. Ole Miss is begging him to stay home, stay to in the SIP. But are we looking at a situation where Auburn may be picking up its third 5-star in the 2024 class?
Oh, God, just put it on a pillow and smother me to death with it. I mean, just please go 8-4. Just go 8-4 and keep the recruiting momentum going. I do think Auburn's going to get Kamarion Franklin. It's something that we've been saying. Yeah. You never know with 17, 18-year-old kids how it's going to go, especially late when they start feeling that real pressure. But right now, Auburn's sitting in the catbird seat. And if Auburn has 3 5-stars, just imagine. So recruiting's about relationships. Hugh Freeze has not been at Auburn long. When he took the job, you automatically start out 2 years behind because these other places where the head coaches and they've had continuity, they've been recruiting these kids for a while. The fact that he flipped a Georgia commit, a high Georgia commit that they wanted, the Riddick kid. Then you flip Perry Thompson, a 5-star wide receiver committed to Bam from Foley. That doesn't happen, right? That's Julio Jones and Robert Lester's stomping grounds. Auburn doesn't go into Foley and get kids. You got him. Now, if you're able to go get a 5-star defensive lineman and you just got T.J. Lindsey that committed, for Auburn to compete with the Georgias and Alabamas consistently, it's going to take a lot more Kamarion Franklins than it will wide receivers and DBs. And that's not a knock. You want the best DBs and wide receivers out there. That's not what I'm saying. But if you want to bridge the gap, this game is won and lost up front. The reason why the SEC slaps other conferences around is because they're bigger and better and deeper up front. That's where you bridge the gap, and that it would be a huge pull for Auburn. I think they're in great shape.
Yeah, it's just this late push by Auburn to seemingly land Kamarion Franklin, and I think it means a lot that he made like a last-second trip to Auburn right before the dead period started back. I mean, I think that's always telling. Track the kids' visits. That certainly means something. But just Auburn, and it's really trickled down to the Auburn fan base, this mindset of no one is off limits anymore is one of the most empowering things I've seen with Auburn recruiting maybe ever.
And Zach, here's why. And I've said this to you, off air. I believe I've said it on air. I've got no personal animus towards Brian Harsin. None. And I was so disappointed because I was in the business. I always want to give guys benefit of the doubt.
Sure.
I thought Brian Harsin having the guts to get out of his comfort zone and come to the SEC, I thought that said a lot about how hard he was going to work in recruiting, how much he understood what he was getting into. But Brian Harsin did not want to recruit the way that you have to. I mean, Nick Saban's the greatest of all time. I know it's Auburn show, but if we're going to be honest with ourselves, Nick Saban's the greatest of all time. Sure. And he works as hard as any coach does in recruiting, even now. Kirby Smart won back-to-back natties. He's out on the recruiting trail doing as much as anybody. Brian Harsin did not put in the work for Auburn to be able to recruit at a high level. He's a house cat, wanted his milk brought to him. Hugh Freeze understands at a place like Auburn, number one, you can go get them. Because Auburn ain't afraid of damn nobody. Nobody. You can win there. It's a golden egg place. It's a place you can win. You can stand up to everybody else. You look left, you look right, and they're right there. You can win at Auburn. You got everything here, the resources. The town runs on the football program, the fan base, and Auburn's all together right now. They're all aligned. We've talked about that before on this show. But Hugh Freeze understands the work that it takes, and he understands how important it is. And he's got a second chance. He saw his professional life flash before his eyes. Right. And it's amazing what that does to somebody that's truly a good person. But Hugh Freeze is putting in the work. This staff is putting in the work. They understand what it's, and guess what? They want to win. They want to win as bad as anybody. And Auburn is in such good hands that you got a guy that doesn't want to just open the door. He wants to kick it down and run in like the Kool-Aid guy. And that's what Auburn's doing right now. And if they can go out and show improvement on the field in year one and keep that momentum, there is no telling what Hugh Freeze can do at Auburn. And don't let anybody tell you otherwise, because when they talk about Hugh Freeze in this negative light, I call it the recess rule. You pick on the people that you're worried about. You make fun of the people that you're worried about. And Hugh Freeze is out here just grabbing more 5 stars than a telescope, and people are starting to get worried. So I'm just telling you right now, Auburn's in great hands. I think you're going to continue to see the momentum in recruiting. And he hasn't even started. He didn't even have the 2-3 year relationship yet. Wait till that happens with that new facility now, and then showing improvement on the field. I'm gonna tell you what. You poke the bear long enough, eventually he wakes up and rips your face off, and that's what Hugh Freeze is waiting to do.